Sefer Yehoshua on Kapitel Hey. We start to speak about the Milech. This Milech, they come here to Yisrael, as we said in Yud Nisan, but also Lachodesh Yud Nisan. It's about to be in a few days, the Kol Pesach, Kol Pesach, Kol Or Eloi Chalvoy, as we know. What do we do about this? So there's a Kol Pesach has to be Gimalet. So this, now we speak about Givas Arolois. And this is the apostle speaking about the Bris Milah. So let's hear this. Vayiki Shmoya. Vayiki Shmoya is the beginning, right? It comes to speak about what we're going to speak in Perek Tes Yud, also Vayiki Shmoya, and Kol Malchei Oimoiri Asher Be'ever HaYarden Yomo. V'Chol Malchei HaKnani Asher Al Hayam is Asher Hoivish Hashem Esmei HaYarden Mipnei Bnei Yisrael Ad Ovrom Va'imas Levovom. So we say Kol Malchei Moir Asher Be'ever HaYarden Yomo. All these Yomo, they sat in the mountain in the west side. The Moiri means all of the people that live in the mountain. The Knani Asher Al Hayom, the Knani will sit in the valley. They sit next to the sea. Asher Oivish Hashem Esmei HaYarden Bnei Bnei Yisrael. Is Oivish, as we said, Ad Ovrom, the Kri and the Ksiv, even it says Ad Ovrom, right? There's a difference between the Kri and the Ksiv. Why we say Dafke, if we look at the Psukim, so first of all, let's see what the Rashi says. Asher Be'ever HaYarden Yomo, Letzad She'ovru, Bnei Yisrael, Hu Tzad Shel Ma'arovi. Ve'ad Achshav, Hoyu Be'ever Mizrachi. So now the way is Mizrachi. And they were told who the Malchei Moiri. Who's the Malchei Moiri? Who's the Malchei Moiri? Why Dafke Malchei Moiri? There's many, right? More than Shiva Amomin. You have Shiva Amomin. All of the Shiva Amomin, all the 7 nations heard about Klal Yisrael walking into the Eretz Yisrael for the Yarden. Why we're mentioning Dafke? The Pasuk mentions Dafke called Malchei Moiri. Later on, the same thing. We find that the Moiri are more than anyone else. We look later on in Perek Chof Dalet and Pasuk Ches. Pasuk says, "Vayitzaku el Hashem." Pasuk Zayin, and Vayover Chesed Yitesh B'Midbar. V'Ovi Yesrem El Eretz or Moiri HaYoshev Be'ever HaYarden. What's the Eretz Moiri? More than anything else. Also later on in Perek Chof Dalet, when Yehoshua ben Nun, we speak about a lot of these psukim. When Yehoshua ben Nun, at the end of his lifetime, he tells Klal Yisrael everything what the Rebbeinu done with them the whole life. Again, he says, "Vat Ovi or Ve'evo Ve'ovi is the Kri Eschem El Eretz Moiri HaYoshev Be'ever HaYarden." Again, the Moiri. Ovi Eschem El Eretz Moiri. Why Dafke the Moiri more than anything else? We mentioned once the Aderes Eliyahu the Gaon. What says in the volume, beginning of the volume, what says over there, Har Moiri, and after that says, what's the last of the pasuk? El Har Moiri ve'el Kol Shcheino. So first Har Moiri. And then El Kol Shcheinav. Why? Because the Moiri was sitting in the beginning and the place where the Mokher Knisa of Klal Yisrael. And that's at the beginning he says Har Moiri. And only then he says El Kol Shcheinav, that they are the rest of the Shiva Umois. The rest of the Shiva Umois. Tosefta in Shabbos and Perek Ches says that the Moiri is Hakosha Shebekulam. From all of the Shiva Amamin, the one that was the toughest, the one that was the hardest to win. Klal Yisrael, the hardest to win, as I said, Hakosha Shebekulam is the Moiri. And that's why it says, that's what it explains. It says, El Har Moiri ve'el Kol Shcheinav. Why? Because the Moiri is Kosher Keneged Kulam. As I just taking Tosefta, that's the coin, if you do Tosefta, it says Har Moiri ve'el Kol Shcheinav. Same thing over here, it says the Rinas Yitzchok. If I ask in the Psukim, and also later on in the Ovi Yisrael El Eretz Moiri, in Kapitel Chof Dalet, is the same thing. Why we say Dafke Malchei Moiri? Why Dafke Malchei Moiri? Har Moiri. Har Moiri is one of the Shiva Umois. And because he was in the beginning, when we come into Eretz Yisrael, he was the toughest. The Moiri, so we first say Har Moiri, and then we go the rest of the people. The Moiri here. There's an interesting pasuk over here, as we saw, Ad Ovrom. What's the Ad Ovrom? Right? It's Asher Oivish Hashem Esmei HaYarden Mipnei Bnei Yisrael Ad Ovreinu or Ad Ovrom. So the Ksiv is Ad Ovreinu. The Kri is Ad Ovrom. What's the difference? the Kri and the Ksiv. So many times we see the Radak always says, right, Kri, Ksiv. Sometimes he explains, sometimes not. The Kli Yoko explains the way what we say in Agodah Pesach. What we say in Agodah Pesach, he says, Ilu, we said in Agodah Pesach, Ilu loy hoitzi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saviseinu Mitzrayim, areonu, uvoneinu, uvenei voneinu, v'shu'avadi moinu, leparoi b'Mitzrayim. That's what we say in Agodah Pesach. That's what it says over here, Ad Ovram. What means Ad Ovram? The pshat is on the first ones. The first one that with them was Nivka, the Yarden. It said Ad Ovreinu. That means Ad Ovreinu. That also our kids is Nechshav Keilu. We are actually were passing that lefi them. And that this, as we say, that this thing of crossing the Yarden, it has to do with all of the Nisim, what happened to our forefathers, to all of the things, and not Dafke the Neser Yetzias Mitzrayim, because the Halacha, the Rambam says in Ilchos Chometz Umatzah, the Rambam says, Bechol Dor V'Doyer, Chayav Odom, Le'aro Yisis Atzmoi, Kehilu U Atzmoi, Yotzo Ato Mishiach V'Od Mitzrayim. He didn't know that he went out of Mitzrayim. It's U Atzmoi Yotzo Mitzrayim. So the Sefer Eved HaMelech on the Rambam, he brings what the Rambam says, Kehilu Ato Yotzo Mitzrayim, he brings the Ramo. The Ramo in the Sefer, it's called Mechir Yain. The Ramo in the Sefer Mechir Yain, it's a Sefer Mechir Yain is on Megillas Esther, as we mentioned many times. We learned this Sefer, as you remember when we learned Megillas Esther, we learned the Sefer Mechir Yain. And he says on the Pasuk, Ve'ayomim ha'ile, nizkorim v'na'asim bechol doyer v'doyer, says the Ramo, ki bechol doyer v'doyer, chayav lirois is atzmoi, ke'ilu nasa lo yahanes. Every nes what happened in Klal Yisrael. Ki kol echod ve'echod yera loi. Sina someone u'mordechai u'masa achashverosh vashti ve'ester v'chol ha'mesuper adeinu. Everyone has his lifetime. He has the achashverosh. He has the Oman. As we know from the Baal Shem Tov, it says that the 42 Masois, as we mentioned in the beginning of Sefer Yehoshua, the 42 Masois. Everyone goes his journey in the life. So everyone has this thing. So what we said, we understand what the Gemara says, right? Aroye ma'abrois, the Gemara Brachos, the beginning of the last perek, the Gemara Brachos, Daf Nun Dalet, the Gemara says, Aroye ma'abrois hayam, u'ma'abrois hayarden. What is ma'abrois hayarden? When they crossed, Klal Yisrael crossed the Yarden, al kulon tzorich sheiten, oito u'shvach lifnei hamokim. And this is in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says there's a special bracha if someone sees when Klal Yisrael crossed the Yarden. What's the pshat? And he makes a bracha. What's the bracha he does? She also nisin aviseinu b'mokim hazeh. Very good. Why? That's a special nusach what we say about when a person crosses, because it's the nisi was done for us, and that is the diuk what the Kli Yoko says over here in the pasuk. Ad Ovram, Ad Ovreinu. Ad Ovram. The pshat is on the Ad Ovram who the Rishonim, the beginning that for them was Nivka the Yarden. Ad Ovreinu is also for the children, the Doiros. We crossed over there. The Nisim is just for us. And Va'imas levovom v'lo hoyobom o yiduach mipnei b'nei Yisrael. That's the end of the pasuk. Pasuk Aleph explains the Malbim, but the pshat in the pasuk is to announce that the pasuk, what we say, the pasuk, and the end of the previous perek. We learned at the end of the previous perek, right? The pasuk of Dalet. למען דעס כל המאורת את יד השם, כי חזוקו היא למען יורסם את השם אלוקיכם כל היומים. Right? למען דעס. That is the tachlis. Right? ליסבדו ליגולויס, כי הוא מלך על כל האורץ. And that's the tachlis. And the Sifri and Pashas Ha'azinu, we learn after this pasuk, minayin. As we know the Sifri, minayin shaloi ofso HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where do we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't do? The nisim, and all of the miracles, the gvuros, l'avoseinu al hayam ve'al hayarden, says the Sifri. Al hayam ve'al hayarden. All of the nisim was done al hayam ve'al hayarden, and Nachli Arnoin, and only the whole reason was lekadesh shemoi ba'olam. Where does the raya? Says the pasuk, our pasuk. Vahi kishmoya kol hamelochim va'imas levovam. And that's the whole purpose. The purpose is lema'an das kol hameoret es yad Hashem. The hemshech is vahi kishmoya kol malchem. That was the purpose, and that's what happened. Va'imas levovam. The purpose was that everyone should hear about it, and va'imas levovam. And after became, they were much the oiref, as we said, right? And they did not want. They wanted to fight against Klal Yisrael chutz and the Girgoshi, as we mentioned from Yerushalmi and Shvis, Perek Design Aloha base. that the Yerushalmi and Shvis is more than in Tosis and Gittin. What Tosis says over there that they believed in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Pino ve'olach lo le'Afrika. He went to Africa, he didn't stay there. There is a little bit more in the Chassidish Sforim. There's in the Bnei Soschol, he brings in Kislev, in Ma'amar Daled, and Oisa and Tessi brings B'Shem his Rebbe, B'Shem the Choizer Milublim. He says that we spoke about it already, and the Zayin Amomin is connected all kinds of right, the Shem is called Chesed V'Ot Tiferes, all kind, right, Hagat Naim, what it's called, and that's connected them. He says that the Girgoshi, what's the Girgoshi? He says the Girgoshi is the Pchina of Malchus, what we have, and Omad Upino, why he moved away from Klal Yisrael, because he said that the Nofal Olov Moira and Malchus the Kedusha, and he walked away. He says why? Because as we said, what is Malchus, the Pchina of Melech? We spoke in the beginning of the Sefer Yehoshua. So even by Malchus Umus Oilom, that the Rishonim, you still have sometimes as you call it, a nitrix of Malchus Shomayim, and as we find many things that have, and actually tonight is Daled Kislev. What is Daled Kislev? I was really be'emes to give a separate share, because it's a Nach share, about Daled Kislev. What is Daled Kislev? The last Nevuah was told that Klal Yisrael, I think it's one of the only Nevuahs, or one or two Nevuahs, was brought down the date, and it's brought down the date. Scharia, in the beginning of Scharia, it's brought down, no, in the beginning, it's Kapil Dal, Kapil Hey, it's brought down that, and Dalet Kislev was brought the last Nevuah to Scharia Novi. The last Nevuah was brought down to Scharia Novi, and they're asking, and what we just learned, if you learned Rosh Hashanah, Daf Hayomi, that's in the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, what we learn about, Ha'ev Ke'oid B'chamishi, that means they're asking about, Klal Yisrael is asking, should we fast? Because now it's just rebuilding the Beis HaMikdash. It's talking about, it was a gap of 2 years. The Nevuah was stopped in the end of Bais Rishon, beginning of Bais Sheni, 70 years. The beginning of Bais Sheni, the Nevuah stopped. Chagai Scharia Malachi was the last Nevi'im Achronim, and it stopped. Then for 2 years, then Klal Yisrael were asking for the Beis, we want the Nevuah. And there was a Nevuah, one Nevuah they're asking for. That was 2 years later. And the Nevuah is, they don't know what to do. Should they fast or not? Should they fast? And Dafke Dalet. So why Dafke Dalet? So the Malbim explains, because this is already a preparation for Asor B'Teves. I have to know if Asor B'Teves to fast or not, because now they have a Beis HaMikdash. And anything what they asking about, Tzom HaChamishi, Tzom HaShvi, Tzom HaAsiri, they're asking actually only about Tzom HaChamishi. They're asking only about Tisha B'Av. And that's koilel all the Tzomas, as the Malbim explains. And that has to do, before they start to prepare ready for Asor B'Teves, they start from Dalet Kislev. But the Chasam Sofer has a very interesting chat of why Dalet Kislev, and he learns very different than the Malbim. But it has to do also with this, as we said, that the Malchusay Bakol Moshala, it has a nitzoitz of the Goyim. What we learn over here is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all of the nisim HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, is a thing to bring into our heart the niflois habayre, right? As we know in Kriyas Yamsuf was also Shomu Amim Irgozun, Chil Ochaz Yoishvei, Oz Nivalu, Nomoigu Kol Yoishvei Kenon. The purpose of this is, yes, to be Ma'bek Voichamayim in the world, and straight away Yisroi Mashmu Shoma Ubo. The purpose is that, yes, Yisroi should hear what the Baruch says. Okay, Pasuk base. Capital Hey. Boisahi, Omar Hashem El Yehoshua. Asay lecher charvo Yitzurim, Veshuv Moil es Bnei Yisrael, Shenis. What's the Shenis? What's talking about over here? Boisahi. So, the pshat is, the pshat is, as Rashi says, Charvo Yitzurim, says Rashi, Kargimu Azmulun Charifin. V'chein, Av Toshim Tzur Charvo, Shacharifus Nefach Letzdodi, Ve'en Echoy Tefyofe. Hey, kol kli yutzar olai. That means they took over from stone. It was made of stone, and then only later on, we said the Medrash brings from the Drisha brings the story of Goliath. They changed it into metal. The Sakin Shechita. Sheinis says Rashi Shemolu kvar belein Yitzioso Mitzrayim kal godol yachad. And this is the second time. Vezu pam sheishe kol arboim shona sheoyu b'midbar. All of 40 years when they were in the midbar. Lo noshol and ruach tzvoinis, and because lo noshol and ruach tzvoinis was danger to circumcised, ולא יהיו לו יום נויח לומול, ושני ובומס, ובשינו ושני זו פרי הסמילה שלו ניתנו לאברהם אבינו. Boy, this is the Chavos Tzurim. The Chavos Tzurim, as we said, that's the Sakin Shel Mila. The Sakin Shel Mila. The Levim, it says, they put themselves in danger, afal pi, that they put themselves in danger, they maled themselves, even though they didn't have to. What Rashi brings Hashem the Targum, Azmalun Charifin. That means that they had what's Azmalun Charifin. What is Azmalun Charifin? What's an Izmel? Is it like a chisel, a knife? So it is clay barzel. It is metal. It is metal. And in the Medrash, right? In the Medrash, it's brought down that they had galbin in the Pashas Noach. It's brought down that they had galbin betinfe. It was not metal. What's the reason? So the Malbim explains the Gemara. The Gemara says in the Yehomas Daf Ayin Aleph, the Gemara says that they had to have hazoy. What's the hazoy? The hazoy of to be retired from Tumas Mes. They were Tomei Tumas Mes. They have to retire themselves. They could not be mal becherev. Why? Because cherev, what is a cherev? It's metal. Cherev kecholol. Cherev areyu kecholol. And once they're gonna they're gonna do a bris milah with the cherev, it turns into a tumas mes. That means any tumas mes, a tumas mes, or touches a cherev, or touches metal, it also becomes tomeh. Cherev kecholol. So if it's cherev kecholol, it's gonna become tomeh, and then it will be metame the people themselves. It's gonna be metame the people themselves. Right? And it brings the Rambam and Perikei, which tumas mes, so the Rambam passes that if a mes or tmemes touches a cherev kecholol, means a metal, that becomes tomeh, and then the metal itself is metame back the person who touched it. So they're going to become tomeh. And that's the reason, molom betzur, why betzur? That's not a kli. A kli is mekabel tomeh. That's a tzur. A tzur is from a rock, and it's not mekabel tomeh. What's the pshat in the Targum? The Targum says, Rashi brings up. So what's the pshat in the Targum? So very good. The way we explain over here, the Malbim, very good. That this was, as we said, Galbi the Tinfer, according to the Medrash, Galbi the Tinfer is very good. Why he did not mal them with metal? Because they become Tomei, Tumas Mes. But what about the Rashi? Rashi brings the Targum. In the Rashi, so in the Rina Sitzach, he wants to say, Lefi, the Rashash and Chagiga Daf Kov Gimel. The Rashash and Chagiga Daf Kov Gimel says as well, if a person touched Odom or Kalim, Kalim that became Tomei from a mess. So what about the seventh day after the Azoy, before the Tvile, they are Oil Regel, and they don't need only the Tvile. They don't need only the Tvile. So if a person touched the Kli, that touched the mess after the first Azoy, so the person that touched them needs only Azoy one, the same like the Keli. That means Azoy. The Rashash is a very, very big chiddush. What's the pshat? Let's say I have a Kli. I have a vessel. And this vessel became Tomei Tumas Mes. What do I do with the vessel? I need to take the vessel, put it on the side, and to do now Hazoy Shlishi, Veshvi, the third day, to do the Hazoy Mayim Chaim, right? Meichatos, what it's called, and then the seventh day. Let's say I took the Kli, and I done Hazoy Yom Shlishi. The third day, I done the Hazoy. What happened later on, after the third day, a person touched the Kli. A person touched the Kli when, after the Kli had already one Hazoy. So the Kli was a Tumemes, Cherev Kecholol. The Kli is Tomei Tumas Mes. If I touch the Kli, I become also Tumas Mes. Cherev Kecholol. This Kli touched let's talk about the sword. Okay, it should be easier to understand. The sword touched a dead body. If I touch the sword, I become Tomei Tumas Mes, and I need Hazoy Shlishi V'Shvi. The Kli itself also needs Hazoy Shlishi V'Shvi. What about the Kli had Hazoy Shlishi, and only then the fourth day I touched the sword. I become Tomei Tumas, but I need Hazoy Shlishi V'Shvi or no? The whole tumor what I got is Mikoyach what? The source is from the Kli. This Kli itself, how much more Hazoy does it need? Only one. So do I need also only one? Exactly, only the seventh. I'm going to need only the seventh one. Hazoy like the Rashash, a big chiddush, huh? Yeah, exactly. Because my whole koyach of the tumah is only mikoyach what? Mikoyach that one. That means the cherev kecholol. In the cherev kecholol itself, the azor is only. So if I touch the sheni or shlishi, it's always gonna. That's what I'm gonna wait. Another thing, what we say is, let's go to the second Rashi. What the Rashi says over here, so the Rashi says in the second in the Rashi in the middle, it says that Chavos Surim, Ketargumo, Izmeni Charivim, Rabbi Seinu Amru, what's Sheinis, Zu, Prias Mile, Shelo Nitno LeAvrom Avinu, right? This is, the Foshim asked a question. If they did not need only the Priya, why need Chavos Surim? Well, that's the thing. That's it. Why need Chavos Surim? Why do you need Chavos Surim? If it's only like Rashi says, you just need the tziporen. How you do the priya? The moil has a long nail. Why? To do the priya. So why do you need Chavos Surim for doing the priya? If it's according to Rashi, what Rashi says that moil es b'nei Yisrael shenis. Why do you need the shenis? I was like, no. Well, what's the problem? If that was the reason. So this question, this question, listen to what the Belchon Wasserman says. The Belchon Wasserman makes the silent. He says, in Simen Samach Dalet, Oisei, and Kovet Zores. Look there, Gam Masha Besugion, the Efshal Lifroya Besakin. And what's the raya? He says, you could do the priya with the sakin. Do Begemore Mukekro, the Asei Lechochav Besuri Lepriya. והרמב"ם כוסף דפוירים בציפוירן. ומקוירו בהגודל לציפורניים להסתכל בהם בעבדולו לפריה. Yes, that's what he means is the Yalkut Shimoni on Teilim, or the Yalkut Shimoni in Bings. כל עצמו יסייתו ימר מהשם מיכו מויכו. And David המלך says, משבח אני את כל האיבורים, מצווה ציפורניים, what's the ציפורניים? לעשות בהם פריה ובליקסויף, and להסתכל בהם בעבדולו. That's the חייגב. That's what's the mitzvah over there? The Medrash is brought down that David HaMelech goes through every Aver and Aver, what mitzvah you do with it. And he says, what's the mitzvah you do with the nails? It says, Priye, Melike Soif, in the Beis HaMikdash, and Leistakel Be'avdole. It's also one of the mitzvahs, Leistakel Be'avdole. So he says, V'tzorich Loimar says the Kovet Zores, V'tzorich Loimar, Dezeh Eino Elo Miderabonot Dumya Leistakel Boil Be'avdole. To do it with the tzipornaim is not me'akev. Like a tchila, if you want to do it, it's only the rabbanon inyan. But you could do it like a tchila also with not dafke with the tziporen. You could do it also with Chavos Surim, and that's the reason that Chavos Surim. I think I saw once it's a very interesting teretz because the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadik Daled, what the Gemara says over there. The Gemara says that just learn it now. Yisroi evir cherev chado al besoroi. What means? Lo muletzatzo, says the Gemara. Yeah, Yisroi, when he was mavir on himself a cherev chado, was lo muletzatzo. Now the Rogatchover and Sochas Ba'aneach in the beginning of Parshas the beginning of Parshas Yisroi explains the Gemara in Shabbos. What's up, Shad? I think he says Azab Shad. He says the Gemara in Shabbos in Daf Kuf Lamed Hey. The Gemara says that oir haperie kovush, and it's very difficult to be mal. And that's why he says you needed the cherev. He says, why you needed the cherev? Yisroi, every cherev al besoroi. He says the same thing, you needed the cherev because the oira priyas, kovush, v'kosher lamuloi. You mean the same thing over here, very good. The oira priyas, when a young boy is tipoirim, but kovush, v'kosher. So Akash Baruch tells us, no, you need over there a cherev to be mal. You need a cherev to be mal. Yeah. Makes sense. The good. Vayas lo Yehoshua. There's many things we could speak about over here. The Shenis about Yishmeres about let's continue. Vayas lo Yehoshua chal v'yisturim. Vayas lo Yehoshua, and we can see we're going to go back to this apostle. But I say lecho chal v'yisturim. We're going to see him about. Vayas lo Yehoshua chal v'yisturim. Vayomol es bnei Yisrael el givas oarolois. What do Vayomol es bnei Yisrael el givas oarolois? So the Medrash Rabbah in Parshas Nosoi in the apostle Melei Okteres. Zog the pasuk Melei Okteres keneged amile akosem medaber שבשור שמולו ישראל במצרים שנאמר וערך מסבויססת בדבויך ואומר לו מנומי חיי ואומר לו דהי what's the ריח ויורח אדם ואורלה עורב לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא כבשרים לכן כשמולו יהושע כמו יקין ויעורב לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא ועל זה נאמר אלך לי אל הר המויר ואל גיבס הלבוינו. So גיבס ההרול is not stam a giver. The giver over here what we're saying is גיבס הלבוינו is the גיבס ההרול is what we're saying over here, the pshat of the apostle. Givas Haarolos. And that's the Asay Lechochav V'Sturim, where in Givas Haarolos, because there was Meshuv Moles B'nei Yeshua. Rashi says, what's Givas Haarolos? He says, Rashi, Al Shem HaMoiro Nikro, Shena Sakimin Giva. They all maled themselves. The Smashma was not only the prayer, they all maled themselves, and all the Oles attended to a Giva, right? And the Medrash of Shir HaShirim says, Ma'ol Givas Haarolos, Omar Rebbe, Mikan She'osu Oisov Giva Be'orle. Ma'ol Hazoi. Giva be'orle. And it says in the Medrash Rabben, Bamidbar, and Parsha Yudaled, Psike Yudaled, state, and it's brought down that when Yehoshua bin Nun was Maladem, it was all Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as we said, right? El Har HaMoyer, Zu Mila Shel Mitzrayim, that they done the Arolois as a har. It's mamish a mountain of the Givas Arolois. It's mamish a mountain. So it's not just the Priya, it was mamish the Arolois. Sorry? Well, the Ola itself, the Giver, they buried it, and that was the Giver. Yeah. The Mechaber brings in Yehudeya, in Reis HaMachei, the Mechaber says that you have to bury it. No, it's in the Ola, no, Bechoil, Be'ofor, right? The Roikiki Dama Metzitze Be'ofor Echet, so you have to bury it. So why they done the Giva Sarola, they did it the old Giva? I don't know, because you see it there when he had this halacha they had already, because there's a Yalkut, if it's good, I don't know the teretz, or if it's good, because there is a Yalkut, maybe both is going to remember where is the Yalkut. The Yalkut says that the Yisrael would take the Orlois and the Dam, and they would cover it with offal and the meatball. And when Bilam comes, he sees the whole meatball full of Orlois. He says, Mi yuchalam b'zchus elu, and that the meatball is covered with offal. He says, Mi mono afar Yaakov. And says the Yalkut, Mikan she'iskiru, that's the comment. The halacha comes from Bilam. This halacha, the cover of the Orle with offal, comes from Bilam. And I don't remember exactly the Yalkut. Yeah? Do you remember the Yalkut? I know where it must be, but if you remember exactly the details, so the Chassin is offal be'edos. So if they covered it already, they had already then, they had this Indian of covering the offal, so why they didn't cover it? But maybe this was a part of the schus. It's not chiyuv yet. It's chiyuv the Rabbanon. It's not a chiyuv. We can in higu. That's the lashon of the Yalkut. It's only a minhag. It's more than la'alocha. You're right. It's more than la'alocha. It's not a din doiraisa. So the Rabbanon, they were metaking it, but they had a reason of a schus, so they were not makli to do it. Ken zayin. Yehoshua bin Nun himself. Who was the moyal? Who was the moyalim itself? So this is a big shayla. Who was exactly the moyalim itself? So the Mishmit Yisov, the Sefer, he brings that from the Chuvas Imre Yehoshua, that and this is what we spoke before, that Yehoshua bin Nun was a problem that because he would become Thomas, so that's why who would be the Moil itself? Who would mal them? Let's see the Pasuk Daled. V'zeh hadavar asher mol Yehoshua כל העם היוצא ממצרים, הזכורים, כל אנשי המלחמה ומייזו המדבר, דרך תצאיסו במצרים. This is what you asked before. Who exactly, וזה הדובר, אשר מול יהושע, כל העם היוצא ממצרים, הזכורים, כל אנשי המלחמה ומייזו המדבר, בדרך תצאיסו במצרים, כי מול היו כל העם היוצאים, that means all of them were mal, right? Let's see, okay, let's see the two psukim together. Why? כי מולים היו כל העם היוצאים. From Mitzrayim, all of them were gimalet. Again, chutzpam, as we said, Shevet Levi. The Metzudas explains what we say that the Psuki is talking about Kol Anshe HaMilchama, that they were gimalet, they died in the midbar. Why? Because the din of himoil imoil is only someone who is gimalet himself, and other people are chayav to be malim. And that's why the Pasuk said that Yehoshua himself had to do a bris milah for the people. Ki'om hamulim. These people that were Nimoil, they were going to be Nimoil they died in the midbar, and that's why Yehoshua needed to be mal these people. Right? Yisrael Orel could not be mal other people. And that's why Yehoshua bin Nun, he was Gimalet, and that's why he has to mal everyone else. Because he himself is Orel. Now it's not so simple, because the Gemara says Nishtazoi. The Gemara of the Zohar says, and what about the Yisrael himself is Orel? The Yisrael himself is Orel, it's not Gimalet. He can mal other people. This is the Gemara. The Gemara in the Zohar and Chav Zayin, the Gemara says, Himoil Limoil is not Nismayet, someone is Orel. Someone is Orel himself. He's not Gimalet, he can mal other people. So that's as I expect the Metzudas. The portion answered the Metzudas lefi the Taz. The Taz in Yehudeya in Simen Reisa Magdalet Sivkom Aleph, he says, and if you could be mal now, for sure that you don't mal other people. That means when a person, he has the right, he's an oral. He was never gimalet. And he has the choice to mal himself now and to mal other people, for sure. Oh, exactly, he has to mal himself now. The whole of Klal Yisrael have to be mal themselves. Yehoshua bin Nun, he didn't need the mal and stuff because he came out of Mitzrayim. So he was already Nimoil. He was circumcised. Yehoshua Binun, he has the chiyuv to be mal everyone else now. Because he didn't have the p'tur. I mean, he has now the chiyuv the mal everyone else. Ki 40 shana holchu bnei Yisrael b'midbar atom kol hagoy anshei hamilchomo hayoytzi Mitzrayim asher lo yishomu v'koil Hashem asher nishba Hashem lohem levilti haroy yisrael Yisrael asher nishba Hashem la'avo Yisrael lo teitlanu eretz lo v'aschol v'dvosh ve'ez b'neihem heikim tachtom oisom mol Yehoshua ki areli moyu ki lo imolu oisom baderech. And again, why? Vayi kasher tam kol hagoy le'yimoy vayishvu tachtom b'machane ad chayoysom. They sat over there at chayoysom until they go back. How many days is that? 3 days. ויאמר השם ליהושע, היום גלויתי את חרפת מצרים מעליכם. Right? Rashi and says that there is one koichov, and Shmois also Rashi says there is a star, what name is Ra, and that is the simon of Dam and Harige. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned it in Cherpas Mitzrayim me'aleichem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned it into Dam instead of to kill Klal Yisrael, into Dam Mile. Right? That Klal Yisrael me'al ha'mazolit, Klal Yisrael me'al ha'mazolit. Vayikro Shem ha'mokoim ahu Gilgol ad hayoim hazeh. He called this place Gilgol, and the place Gilgol, they were mallet. Okay, we're going to stop over here, Pasuk Yud. Just let's go back as what we said. The Choloma Yiloidim, Pasuk Hey. The Choloma Yiloidim, Bamidbar Baderech V'Tzeis HaMitzrayim Lo Yimonu. But what's the reason they're not mallet? We saw in Rashi, and the Gemara brings in the Yevamos Daf and Aleph Amud Beis 2 different reasons. First reason, because Chul Shedarucha. That's the first reason. Second reason, because there was no Ruach Tzfoinis. Ruach Tzfoinis is not Lo Yichamo V'Lo Yitzeinenes, and Chamo Zorachas is very comfortable. And that's a refuah, as the Radak says over here, refuah le'makas dam v'zulos lo. If you don't have the Ruach Tzfoinis, it's a sakona for makas dam. And because they were nezufim, because the Ma'aser Egel, why they didn't have it? Because they were nezufim. His mother was upset with them because or a different reason the Gemara says why that it shouldn't get scattered. The Ananei HaKavod was guarding Klal Yisrael. It shouldn't blow away. There was no Ruach Tzfoinis. That's what the reason. Shevet Levi was also mal in the midbar, and that's what we say. Ki shomru im mosecho. The ones that were born in the midbar of Klal Yisrael, not male. The ones that were male from the Shevet Levi, they give male. Chasam Sofer says in Arachaim and Reish. One second, the Chasam Sofer says in Arachaim and Reish Ches. Lefi this reason, because the sakone you're not allowed to mal itself. So even if they want to be mal, Moshe Rabbeinu, what stopped them? So how could the Levim? What about the Levim? Moshe Rabbeinu let them be mal. Why? It's a sakone. How could Moshe Rabbeinu allow them to put themselves in a danger? So he says a chidush, says the Chasam Sofer, a very interesting chidush, that Shevet Levi, because they were not part of the chet of Egel, they didn't have the nezufim. We said, what's the reason there was no Ruach Tzfoinis? Because nezufim, because the Egel. He says, v'nichnas. He says of the nas alayim nes. As I said in Arachaim Simen Reish Ches, a beautiful Chasam Sofer says, nichnas lohem the Ruach Tzfoinis bechadrei mishke ve'yelodim. Mamish went into the bedroom of the kids. V'nes ze nas. He says the whole of the Machane Levi, all of the 40 years. Mi meile the mechuyev to be mal. But Klal Yisrael, that they were nezufim. They didn't have this nes. They get Ruach Tzfoinis to go in between Beina Besorim, which over there, in between the houses, and that Midine, they were also to be mal the kids. As I said, the Chasam Sofer, beautiful shot over there, the Rachaim Simen Reish Ches. Yes, fine. Shkoyach.